Hello, 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 and welcome to my podcast. It's your boy Carl E. Long from Let's Talk with Carl E. Long. You ever want to know what the E stands for? It's Carl Edward Long. That's who I am, guys. And tonight, guys, is tonight was the night that our dear president did his State of the Union, which is not really a State of the Union. It was just a talk with Congress. That's what he's calling it, a talk with Congress. And most presidents have done that. But he treated it more like a State of the Union. He's only been in office almost 4 weeks now? Feels like 4 years already. And I just want to tell you guys, that was a spectacle to see. It was a spectacle to see. And most of the Democrats, and I've been getting messages from everyone. We were supposed to boycott and look at something else, or watch this podcast, or go to this town hall, or do something other than watch. And it showed that it had low attendance rate as well from Democrats. And then the Democrats who were there, they were they were in a protest mode. They all had little signs and things. And then there was Representative Al Green. They said he was from Dallas, but I think he's from Houston, who was the first to actually submit articles of impeachment for the president. He submitted a bill for that already, which I applaud him. This guy just stood up. He was yelling at the president. And to tell the truth, guys, I lived for it. A lot of people said it was inappropriate because they did the same thing to Barack. Do you remember the "you lie" and how we called it out and whatever? I don't want to both sides, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, but this isn't the same thing. Because this is not normal. We're in 5-alarm. We're in 5-alarm fire with this Donald Trump and this whole regime. And as usual, it was a big show, guys. It was a big show. I mean, he stood there and there were lies, and I'm going to play those lies. Always lies. So I want to say to you, MAGA world, how do y'all deal with the lies? Why is it that you don't take the time to find the truth when your president stands up there and he just blatantly lies to you and you don't care? I don't get that. Why don't you hold him accountable? He stood up there and just lied and made everything sound like it's so rosy. Why do y'all fall for the crap? I want to know why. MAGA, why do you fall for the crap? Don't you want the truth? I don't understand why you don't want the truth. Why are you so whitewashed, brainwashed, whatever you are, that you can't see through this guy? Now, y'all all went and voted on him because he was going to do all this stuff for the economy. He just told you tonight, which he didn't talk a lot about it because he hadn't done anything. He's just doing a tariff war with all these countries. I think Donald Trump literally is upset with America, period, and he doesn't care what happens to us. And I think that he's upset with a lot of these countries abroad because he's probably tried to do business with them internationally. He hasn't been able to or something, but it's personal. It has nothing to do with the American people. And if you're going to keep on being dumb and stupid and think that it is, and I know y'all hate when we say that, but I'm sorry that you are, because you're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening to the truth. Look for the truth. You know, this really gets me. And so I want to also say that to my journalists on CNN, MSNBC, I'm watching y'all again only because I'm doing a podcast and I'm needing to get some material and see what the tone and the temperature of the small audiences that you have, because they're not that very big anymore. They're not as big as they used to be, but I know that you still tell the truth. So that's why I do lean to journalists, because of the integrity of journalists and what you signed up for. You're going to tell us the truth. But this is a 5-alarm fire for our country. So it's time to throw those principles out. I need you to be a Don Lemon. I need you to be an Alan Acosta. I need you to be a Joy Reid. Call them out. Your career is going to be lasting. Because if we're following you now, we'll follow you wherever you go. And as you can see right now, you can go to a podcast and have much more liberties than you have at this station, but this is not the time to play. I'm the journalist and I'm going to get both sides' view. This is not that time. We need you to really call people out and start believing in what you believe in, journalists. I know that's something that you probably think is not right at this point, but this isn't a normal time. Some of you are inching in there and trying to do it on the slide because I know you'll lose your jobs because a lot of these media companies now being owned by Trump enthusiasts. So you have to be careful. I understand you have a livelihood, but we need y'all to help us this time. You didn't do too well in the election. Y'all were all playing journalists and I'm going to be the center person, and you normalized Donald Trump. But listening to him now, tonight, he's not stopping. He is unhinged. And so that's why the name of this podcast tonight, guys, is America. You in danger, girl. Stole that from my good friend Whoopi's Ghost. She's not my good friend, but if I knew it, we would be. From Ghost. America, you in danger. We're in danger. And then I have to call out the cowardness of the Republican Party. Looking at this lily white audience, and I'm saying it, lily white audience with this 1, 2, or 3 token blacks or whatever. And you know what I feel about y'all. That's a whole nother podcast there. And that is not a representation of anything that America looks like. And why do we fall for that? Do we really think that white America are the only ones that can run this country? Is that what we're going back to? Is that what it is? I know y'all are mad at the Democratic Party right now, and we're trying to mobilize and do some things. But, you know, you can't give up. You can't give up. This is just another 4 years. This is another 4 years, but it's not the same 4 years. So they are trying to get their footing. Nobody has had to fight like this in government for anything. We don't have to do this. I just did a podcast the other day on election integrity and how there is very strong evidence that the 2024 election was compromised in those swing states. There just is. Nothing we can do about it. Russian operatives may have gotten in there or something. We don't know. We don't know. Donald Trump is so tight with Putin. What are they talking about? We don't know. We don't know. Because this man is such a great manipulator of people, of situations, that he's always been able to skirt and get people to do whatever he wants, including you that voted for him. You see everybody just bows to his feet? Who is he? What does this guy have on you guys that hypnotizes everyone to just fall in line? That's why I was so proud of Zelensky. He stood up to him. That's why I was proud of Senator Green tonight. He stood up to him. He doesn't care. This is his country. And he's probably lived through the civil rights era and understands what went on. So people are calling him out. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Yeah. I guess I'm a little testy tonight because after watching that, I didn't want to watch it, but I need to know what's going on and what we have to fight with defensively after that debacle. And I don't want you to get lost in some of the polling and showing that America is with him and da da da. Those were speech watcher audiences. They polled the people that were watching the actual speech on tonight, whenever the speech ran tonight. And it was heavily Republican because Democrats weren't watching that mess. So it shows like he's overwhelmingly people. No, people are not feeling that way. And I know that there's a large sector of our population that is all in with Mr. Trump. We know that. There's always been that sector of people. And I pray for them. That they find the truth. I pray that they find the truth. Yep. So I wanted to probably do some of my. I was going to do some of my mean comments today, but I didn't do them. I had so many this past that I didn't do it. But I want to talk about a few things. So let's first just listen to a little bit of what dear President Trump said on tonight in his address to the House and the Senate. Here we go. Just a little bit.
And proclaim the dawn of the golden age of America. From that moment on, it has been nothing but swift and unrelenting action to usher in the greatest and most successful era in the history of our country. We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started. I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back, our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before. The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again. There's never been anything like it.
Well, there you go.
The president, in his...
I'll come back to that. So we're going to come back to Rachel Maddow. She has fact-checked a lot of what he said on tonight. But he really believes that, guys. He really believes America is back and he's the great savior. This man does not live in reality. He cannot, if it's not his truth, it's not the truth. He stands up there and says all that stuff. We are back and it's been the great. Why won't you deal in the truth, Donald Trump? That's not the truth. You're not the greatest president ever. We have facts. You're not beating presidents in any category, and you think that you are. Like he thinks he's the greatest president since George Washington, and he says that a lot. Donald Trump seriously needs therapy, badly, using one of his terms, badly. He bigly needs he needs therapy. Bigly. Wow. And sitting through that, I never looked at a human being with such disgust in all my life. I just haven't. And trust me, I try to find some kind of good that this man does. And I can't find it. I cannot find it. All right, so let's just go to Rachel Maddow. She did a bunch of fact checking on everything he says. And MAGA, he was lying a lot. Pay attention to the lies. Research them yourself. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to listen to Rachel. Go look for yourself. But quit believing the lies. And why is that acceptable? That your leader lies to you. Here we go.
The president, in his, what we believe was ad-libbing, we did not have prepared remarks from the president, which is unusual. White Houses usually distribute prepared remarks, so we don't know what was digression from those remarks and what was ad-lib. But the president did repeatedly seem to be ad-libbing when he was remarking on the expected impact of the economic decisions he's already made 6 weeks in, saying that the American people would have to bear with him, that there would be a little disturbance, that there would be an adjustment period. And again, he said a little disturbance, essentially suggesting that the roiling that we saw in the markets is something that he knows he caused, but he hopes people will not mind. For the record, the worst inflation in this country was in 1980. For the record, the economy that he was left by President Biden was not a catastrophe. It was literally the best economy in the world and was described by The Economist magazine as the envy of the world. That was the economy that was left to Donald Trump by Joe Biden. For the record, Social Security is not paying benefits in large numbers to 300-year-old people or 250-year-old people or 200-year-old people or 150-year-old people. In fact, the idea of Social Security as a bastion of massive fraud and overpayment is completely false. For the record, U.S. auto company CEOs are not psyched and delighted and so excited about President Trump's economic policies, including his tariffs. Take, for example, the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, who said that Trump's tariff policies would, quote, blow a hole in the U.S. auto industry that, quote, we've never seen. The president flat out lied about U.S. versus European spending to support what used to be our allies in Ukraine. The U.S. has committed about $125 billion to Ukraine's defense. Europe has committed about $259 billion. The president radically misstating the character and quantity of our relative support for what used to be our ally, now appears to be only Europe's ally and no longer ours. For the record, Joe Biden did not close over 100 power plants. There were more utility-sized power plants up and running in the United States when Joe Biden left office than when he achieved office. For the record, there is no EV mandate. For the record, oil and gas production in the United States hit all-time records under President Joe Biden. For the record, even DOJ has never claimed that they have saved hundreds of billions of dollars in savings. The largest items they have claimed to achieve as savings in the U.S. budget have been debunked and they've been taken down, but even they don't falsely claim hundreds of billions of dollars worth of saving. For the record, and this is disgusting, the president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who thus far survived pediatric cancer, as if the president had something to do with that. This was in the midst of him praising DOJ. The DOJ cuts, among other things, have cut off funding for ongoing research into pediatric cancer. For the record, I will note that Donald Trump did admit in his remarks today explicitly that Elon Musk is the head of DOJ. And while that comes as no surprise to anybody who's been following the facts of this matter, that will end up in court because that is directly contrary to what the administration has overtly sworn to a federal judge about the leadership of DOJ. I should also note, and this doesn't have to be for the record, I'll just note it for our own experience tonight, that at that point in the speech, when the president talked about how we will no longer be ruled by unelected bureaucrats, Democrats in the chamber pointed and laughed at Elon Musk. Unelected bureaucrat. Nicole Wallace, I'm sorry to dump a lot of fact checks there, and that's not even scratching the surface of the things that need to be fact checked there. That's literally what was off the top of my head. Yeah. So there's more to say along those lines.
People should know that. I mean, this.
All right. So there you go. And Rachel was just sitting there fact checking him just on different things, just going, there's more. So MAGA, listen to what she said. Take your little pencil and paper, go to your little computer, look stuff up. If you want to believe the lies, then you believe the lies. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's no way that I would believe any guy. If it was my president, look at me doing. If it was my president, I would fact check them too. And when I say my president, if it's one that I voted for, I would fact check them too. Yes, I would. But Donald Trump, you guys do not allow him. I mean, he just cannot make an error, according to you guys. He cannot, which I don't get. So meanwhile, over in Cowardsville, where the Republican Congress lives, I mean, they're just spineless. And Mike Johnson's standing back there like he's doing all this work. They're just spineless. They can't even pass their own bills. I mean, they have control of the House. They can't even pass a bill because they're not even together. They can't pass anything. But they were able to pass that bill, guys, that has a large part of it that says they're going to cut Social Security. And let me let you hear what Elon Musk has said about Social Security. This is shocking. Here we go.
Well, I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so, well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately, but the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying with you're paying like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue. Far. Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations. So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations.
I just left a massive citizen.
All right, so, here's the thing about Elon Musk. Just because somebody's made millions does not mean they're the smartest guys in the world. You come here from your country and you think you know our system. Social Security was something that was created that I think is good. Because if you're like me, I just turned 65 on 2024. And it gets to a point where you're ready to retire, And the whole 40 years that I've worked in the private sector, you guys have been taking Social Security out of our checks. So we want that money back. Yes. And the way it was set up, all that money goes into this fund. And you're able to get this money when you get to a certain age. They keep pushing it further out because they want to push it even further out so that you're almost dead when you get it. If you're going to do that, then don't even take it out of my freaking check. Do you know what I mean? So it was Social Security to help our seniors. I'm a senior. All right. And if you mess with that, dude, I hope that you MAGA-mites wake up if your Social Security starts getting checked. If they start pushing out to you don't get it until you're 75 years old or something like that, you need to fight back because you'll never get your money. And if you have to wait that long, that's even worse. They'll probably penalize you if you get it any kind of early. They already do that now, but it'll probably be something crazy and stupid, And I don't care what Elon Musk thinks. I really don't. Because he's quite irritating. It really is. He thinks he knows everything. Donald Trump thinks he knows everything. He doesn't know anything. He's really kind of been not good at things. He's just as bad as Donald Trump. He got thrown out of PayPal. They voted him out of PayPal. He's had problems with the SpaceX. He's had problems with Tesla. Things. He's not good. He's flawed, like every other person. So I wouldn't trust him. Just because you made a little money, dude, I still wouldn't trust you. Definitely don't trust Donald Trump because he made a little money. So that's that. Now listen to one of the Democratic congressmen call out the Republican cowards. Yes, here we go.
Let's just cut to the chase. The president of the United States is a coward who is Vladimir Putin's puppet. And the vice president of the United States is a pogue and a coward who is Donald Trump's puppet. And so what we just witnessed was a meeting in the Oval Office between two cowardly puppets and a hero.
Congressman, I wonder if you think that President Zelensky could have handled it differently, the way that some of his European counterparts and Emmanuel Macron and Keir Starmer did, and perhaps been more deferential to Trump and Vance.
Deferential to what? Deferential to a president who allowed a deal in his first term to crumble because Putin just violated it? Deferential to a vice president who didn't even bother to visit Ukraine? I hardly know anyone in Congress who has any view on national security who hasn't been to Ukraine during this war. Deferential to a draft dodger who's our commander in chief? Zelensky doesn't deserve to be deferential to anyone in that Oval Office. In fact, I kind of wish he'd put them in their place a little bit stronger. The vast, vast majority of my Republican colleagues in Congress completely agree with me.
Did you hear what he said? They will never tell you. They are cowards. They are cowards. That's a Democratic. I mean, all of them tell us that. All the Democratic congressmen tell you that. They will tell you right then, I'm never going to say it. Of course I don't agree with it. Cowards. And we know they're cowards, but we can't do anything about it. We can't do anything about it because they're going to follow him to the hill. There are some who genuinely follow him to the hilt, no matter what. And there are some who really don't agree with him, but will never say anything. And there's more of those than what you think. Yeah. So I guess by now you would probably have heard everything about what happened with Zelensky in the Oval Office. You've seen the exchange and everything on the president. I just want to play a little bit more of that and let you just kind of hear what is said with Zelensky in the Oval Office. This might be part 2. This might be the second half. Let's listen.
Tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's back to you, far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I answer?
Wait a minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You haven't been alone.
In this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion. We gave you military equipment, and your men are brave, but they had to use our military. If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media.
All right, so that was the exchange, guys. If you didn't hear it, that's it right there. That's what went on in the Oval Office with one of our allies that we've been helping. They just kind of humiliated the poor guy, you know. And J.D. Vance, oh my God. There's never been a vice president that has just sort of taken over the conversation in the president in the Oval Office. That was a whole big piece of theater, guys. They ambushed the poor guy. They ambushed him. And breaking news, he has sent a message to Trump, said he's ready to come to the table. And he's doing that because of his people. That's what we have to do sometimes. Sometimes we have to take these falls and hits for the people. That's why the Democrats didn't speak up when they knew that there was some election of interference. They wanted to show that we did the right thing with the peaceful transfer of power. We always got to be the example. So here's President Zelensky. He's going to step up for his people. He said he would even quit for his people. That's a true leader right there. So he's going to end up taking some kind of deal where they're probably going to take half his country or whatever. Who knows what Donald Trump has negotiated. He's going to have to give us minerals. You know, I mean, the man didn't start the war. Putin did. Why not do the negotiations over there, Donald? If you're such good friends with Putin, why don't you tell him, hey, man, you need to pull off. Man, pull off of my boy Zelensky. Pull off. Are you afraid? So I did hear a lady today. I can't think of. She was, I don't know who she was. She was a pundit of sorts. But she was trying to explain the negotiation factor with people like that. Because I do remember how when the Barack Obama did the Iraq-Contra deal, he ended up giving Iraq some things that a lot of us, and including me, thought maybe was a little bit too much. But he had to give in some stuff, and people were upset about that. Do y'all remember that? So now I think that President Zelensky is starting to think about it a little bit to see that this is probably the best that I'm going to get. Europe doesn't have enough equipment nor money or armies to fight him off. And I don't want to see any more of my people die. And so this is what he's doing. But I'm glad he stood up to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, if Putin comes back and tries to invade another country and you say nothing, shame on you. Shame on you for whatever kind of deal that you're doing here. There's a deal with the devil. Shame on you. Shame on you. So Nicole Wallace fact-checked a bunch of stuff that J.D. Vance said about. No, before I play that, I want to play Lindsey Graham. Flip-flopping Lindsey Graham. My God, he was with Zelensky 2 weeks before this exchange, praising him, saying all this stuff, and then he turned around and said some craziness. Let's listen to my favorite flip-flopper of all times, Senator Lindsey Graham. Would somebody please vote him out of office? Here we go.
You're people. You're the ally I've been hoping for all my life. Not one American has died defending Ukraine. You've taken our weapons and you've kicked their ass. And I'm very proud to have you as our ally.
The Russians are the bad guys. They invaded, contrary to almost every international law, and they should be defeated. And Ukraine is entitled to the promises that the world made to them.
Republican U.S. Senators Lindsey Graham and Roger Wicker praising Ukraine and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, condemning Russia, saying Ukraine is an ideal ally, that they are entitled to the promises the world made them. Those were not clips from 2 or 3 years ago. Senator Graham and Senator Wicker said those things exactly 2 weeks ago. That said, to be fair, we are in a news environment where 2 weeks can feel like an eternity. So how about something not even 2 weeks ago? How about something even more recent? How about something from this morning? Here's those same 2 senators greeting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and sitting down with him for a meeting ahead of his trip to the White House today. You can hear Senator Wicker, the chair of the Armed Services Committee. You can hear him in this next clip.
Delighted that you're here in the United States. We're encouraged about the show of support. We have committee chairs. We have the president. We're here today as a show of support.
We're here today as a show of support. We are so encouraged you are here. We are delighted that I mention the show of support. After that meeting, Senator Lindsey Graham posted his own video about how excited he was to be supporting Ukraine today. They were all so excited. Today, Senator Wicker posted this picture of himself proudly shaking hands with President Zelensky, calling the meeting a huge step forward in securing mutual prosperity and peace for Americans and Ukrainians. This was today. And you know what happened next? President Donald Trump and J.D. Vance screaming at President Zelensky in the Oval Office, hammering him with Russian talking points as the cameras rolled and rolled and rolled and rolled. After that display, Senator Graham, who again, just this morning was so excited to show his support for Ukraine and President Zelensky, just hours after that, he called a press conference to demand that Volodymyr Zelensky must resign. Senator Wicker, profile and courage, appears to have just quietly deleted his post from this morning, praising Volodymyr Zelensky and showing himself shaking his hand. Courage, Senator Wicker. We reached out to Senator Wicker's office tonight to ask what happened there. Haven't heard back. But friends like these.
Y'all see that? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Just stand up for what is right. Lindsey Graham, he's the biggest flip-flopper in the world. And, you know, he doesn't deserve to be a senator. But South Carolina, y'all keep sending him back. One day. So that's what's going on with that whole thing here with the whole flip-flopping. But I want to let you hear this one exchange from how international this thing has gotten. This is a British TV program where she's calling out. They have something called the Reform Party. The Reform Party is kind of like, I think that's more of the Democratic equivalent in British. I may be wrong with that as to which party. But she is out here and she's calling out one of the leaders of that party. And listen to this exchange. She makes quite a point.
Killing people. If Russia stopped fighting, if Russia wanted to end the war, if Russia stopped fighting, Russia could just stop fighting and there wouldn't be a war. No one would be killed.
And that would be
great.
Our
job done.
Yeah,
why doesn't the West take that to Russia?
Ultimately, maybe that's what the negotiations are.
Which part of Britain would you give away if we were invaded and you wanted to negotiate
none at all.
peace?
None at all.
Oh, so we wouldn't give away any of Britain.
But
it's okay to give away a bit of Ukraine.
Hang on, it's not us giving it away, Julia. Right? It's Ukraine, and Ukraine
doesn't want to give it away.
Of course it doesn't. But ultimately, as everybody said, it is Zelensky's decision. But ultimately, we've got to stop killing people.
If we were invaded and our close allies in NATO, like the United States, basically supported us for a bit, but gave us just enough support so we could actually not lose, but we'd not enough to win.
Yeah.
And after 3 years, whoever was president of the United States said,
position from which to try and negotiate a solution.
So at which point Donald Trump, let me finish. Says, oh, well, we're going to have a negotiation. But we're going to let the Russians, whoever invaded us, keep part of territory. Just kind of clarify. Just how much of British territory would you be willing to give away in those negotiations?
On Northern Ireland, chap. Ultimately, in Northern Ireland, there was a negotiation to stop the killing. It involved horrendous compromises that lots of people didn't want to make.
We didn't give away territory.
We stopped killing people.
We didn't give away territory.
That's also
correct.
We
didn't give away territory to invading wars. That's a ridiculous analogy.
No, it's a completely valid analogy. Wars.
Sorry, who invaded Northern Ireland?
Wars stop when people stop killing people.
No, wars stop. Wars stop when one side is defeated. Sorry, have you heard of the Second World War?
Yes.
Did we negotiate the ending of the Second World War?
Have you heard there are lots of other wars where ultimately people negotiate a peace. Otherwise, you just carry on. How long are we going to carry on with this?
Falklands.
Yeah, Falklands we won.
Oh, yeah. Or we didn't just negotiate with Argentina and give them some of the Falklands.
No, but there's
Why
plenty
not?
of other...
Why not? That would have stopped the war, Richard. Why not?
Look, ultimately, we won that war, but there are other wars where it's a negotiated settlement.
Because it's not our problem. Except it will be our problem when Vladimir Putin thinks he can take any territory of any country in Europe that he darn well pleases.
And that's why the negotiation is about what is the strength of what is put in place to stop him going any further. That's why I've always said...
What's going to stop him going any further? We've just said you can take Crimea, you can take the Donbass.
That's the whole point of the negotiation. Is Ukraine going to join NATO and therefore benefit from the Article 4? Well, that's the point of the negotiation.
Well, there's no negotiation, is it? There's no negotiation. The Secretary of State
clearly don't understand how President Trump works. He starts out in one position. That doesn't mean that's where he settles. The whole point of a negotiation, you set out positions and then you work out where you're going to finish.
You know what you don't do in a negotiation? You set out a position where you've given the other side everything that they want.
And that's not what I suspect.
It's literally what they've done in the last 24 hours.
I completely disagree.
I just thought Reform cared about national borders.
We do absolutely care about national borders and sovereignty.
Not all of them. Okay.
But equally, we don't want to carry on killing people. We're not killing people. But ultimately, somehow, the war has got to stop. It's gone on for 3 years. How long do we keep it going? A decade? 2 decades?
How long would you fight for this country?
Until I'm dead.
Well, exactly. That's what Ukrainian people would ideally do if they were given support.
But
that
actually,
war could have been won a long time ago if we'd given support.
Yeah, but there are lots of Ukrainian people who would like to find a way to end this war, including the president.
Let's not use up all our time on this. I'm disappointed in
I'm
people who believe in national security.
I'm trying to explore ways to stop killing people.
Well, tell that.
She got him good. She got him good. She kept putting it back to your country. And it's like, if it's my country, I'm not going to do that. But if it's Ukraine, who cares? They need to come to the table. So basically, there is no negotiation. Zelensky does not get to negotiate. He's being told this is what you got to do. That's not a negotiation, people. That is an edict. That is a command. He didn't get to come to the table. So basically, Putin gets what? What do we know? We don't. That's just it. We don't know what Putin gets. But there's negotiations. With who? We don't know. So guys, this is getting really crazy. Really, really crazy. And I don't know. Let me just go to something delightful. I want to show you. This is delightful because I love finding the MAGA dummies out here, guys. And I'm sorry, guys. I don't like to be disrespectful, but this stuff is real. These people are following Donald Trump and his thing, but they have absolutely no idea what he stands for or anything. They're just wearing Make America Great Again hats. So why? I don't know. Tell me what you think about these guys.
Consolidation of so much power in one individual. Gets you so excited about like the work Elon Musk is doing.
I mean, he's doing what the people voted for. And if there's a problem, we take the democratic way, right? And you can protest, you can have a problem with it. You can bring him to the limelight.
What is the democratic way to reel in Elon Musk when he is an unelected appointed official?
No,
he was actually elected. He was on the ballot.
The American people.
Elon Musk was not elected.
No. From a democratic perspective, he was not elected. The American people voted for that.
They voted for Donald Trump.
That's your opinion.
There are constitutional processes for getting rid of that funding. Congress has power of the purse. Congress passes the budget. The president signs it. That's our constitutional process for determining where our money goes.
Well, who dictates the constitutional process? Is it?
The Supreme Court interprets the Constitution. And with a Republican control in Congress, you could pass a budget making these cuts and go through it constitutionally.
Yeah, that's been the way of the United States for how long, and it's not been working out very well.
Sidestepping the Constitution is fine when we need to speed up the process.
The deep state is extremely smart. This is a very, very long process that's been going on. It's being exposed. You have to come out with a cannonball in order to eradicate this. That's what Doge is doing.
But that cannonball is the consolidation of so much power in one individual.
She tried. They have no idea of what's really going on. All they know is that Donald Trump is leading them. So I think they think he's just some kind of thug or something. They're just, I don't know. I just don't know, guys. I don't know. So there we go. Oh, one more here. I want y'all to listen to this one. And I call this one Y'all Got Played. Here we go.
Voted against your best interest, and you might
tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. I was excited at first until I noticed none of those are in the bill. None of them. So, listen, I'm not a genius when it comes to these things, but somebody explain what the fuck is in the bill. And why the fuck did they tell me that my overtime wasn't going to be taxed? They fucking lied to me.
Oh my God, the man who lied over 30,000 times while serving his first term as president lied to you again? That's really fucking psychotic and crazy. You can tell me all about that later, but I would like to break down what is in the resolution because as you stated, and you are correct, the no tax on tips and the no tax on overtime is not in it at all. The reason why you think it's in it is because your crazy representatives, like this girl right here, decides to post that it is in it and then has to do a dirty delete after getting fact-checked by the community notes. Now, what is in the resolution is the cutting of $880 billion to the Energy and Commerce Committee. And you might be a maggot being like, see, I told you they're not coming for my benefits. What does the Energy and Commerce Committee oversee? Medicaid. You cannot cut $880 billion from the Energy and Commerce Committee without digging into Medicaid. Same thing with the Agricultural Committee. They are in charge of overseeing food stamps. They have been forced to cut $230 billion. Something that they cannot do without cutting into food stamps. You guys voted against your best interest, and you might sit there being like, no, I don't believe in welfare anyways, and no Trump supporter is on welfare. That is demonstrably false. You guys are on a lot of motherfucking welfare. These are your programs, just all in order to give tax breaks and tax cuts to the billionaire class. You've sold yourselves out. Good job. Anyways, my name is Mercedes Chandler. Give me a follow or you won't see my face again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mercedes Chandler from TikTok. Y'all look for her on TikTok, Mercedes Chandler. That was really good. I really love that. But real business, though, guys, Medicaid. Now, Medicaid, to me, it's very close to my heart because without Medicaid, my mom, who just died here not a couple of years now, if it wasn't for some of the programs with Medicaid that was given us when because my mother had dementia, so there was a lot of things that we had to get, like beds and wheelchairs, and we couldn't afford all that stuff, and her insurance was limited. That's what helped my mother have the quality of life that she had in her last days. So cutting those programs out, guys, that's what helps our seniors. It also helps the children of our seniors. A lot of us aren't able, we're not rich. None of us are not able to hire private nurses and things like that. Medicaid takes care of a lot of things like that for us, So thank God for some of the stuff, the Medicaid that my mom was able to get and help us out. Because, I probably would have had to quit my job or anything just to take care of my mom because, my sister did most of it. But without having that program, I don't know how we could have made it. Don't know how we could have made it. So here's my closing thought for tonight after watching the deal here. My closing thought is I just want everyone to deal in truth. MAGA, I know I make a lot of jokes about you guys and what you're doing, but I know you're real people. And some of you have hearts and feel right and can feel for others. But we just want you to try to at least find the truth. I know it's hard. We're very tribal about our red and our blue and where we are. It's very hard. But it shouldn't be hard to get into the right camp of right versus wrong. That should be easy. Red and blue, that's hard. But right and wrong, I'm telling you, if this was a Democrat and he was doing all this kind of stuff, I would be nowhere. I didn't care. I wouldn't be rooting him. Well, I had voted for like a Marion Barry or somebody like that. No. People that were doing wrong, no. I wouldn't have. Some people still would have followed him or whatever. But I'm just trying to put this in perspective. It's right versus wrong. Donald Trump is using you. He's using the American people. He's using the American government to do whatever he wants. He can do whatever kind of business. He's making all kind of... Donald Trump is having a fun time running this government into the ground. He doesn't care. He doesn't have to run anymore. So, there you go. Oh, well. All right. So before I close, I wanted to talk to every podcaster here and let you know that if you are a podcaster and you are not using Podpage to handle your website, you're missing out. Podpage is the best app out there. It automatically grabs all of your podcasts, makes a beautiful web page for you in minutes. And I'm talking about it because I use it every day. I love it. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about it. And we're going to close right now. But I'm going to end with the Podpage information. And I'll have that for you guys in the podcast description so you can check it out if you're a podcaster and you want to check out some of that information on starting your podcast or Podpage management. All right. But everyone else, have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for joining me and continue the movement. Let's continue to fight. Let's continue to be vigilant. And let's continue to help and find some common factors in us so that we can be in this America together. That's the way it should be. Have a great day. Here we go. Let me tell you about this new software that I found. Are you a podcaster? If you're a podcaster, then you need to be using Pod Page. Let me tell you how I found it. I'm not even sure how I found it. I was clicking along, and then maybe Facebook, I don't know. But I saw it, I clicked on it, and I was like, this is it right here. Whenever you become a podcaster, like I decided to do, on top of being an Amazon influencer, photographer, I got web pages for photography, I got web pages for everything. It's just so much. And then I became a podcaster. I was like, I need a website. So I can build websites. So I went to my little website hosting company and I started to build it. And I was like, no, this is too much. I already got too many things to do right now. Keeping up with my Amazon influencer stuff and doing videos and things of that nature. That was just too much. And then my photography website, I didn't want to have to manage another website. Yes. So Podpage, literally, guys, in minutes, it will build a page from you from your RSS feed. That little feed right there, it has all of the different podcasts that you go on. It makes a beautiful website for you, like in seconds. I couldn't believe what I saw. Let me just give you a little view of what it looks like. This is a podcast website builder by Podpage. This is revolutionary. I mean, this is my site here. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be this good. I can build websites. I build websites for people all the time, but nothing can come together as quickly as this did. It went out and found all my episodes, all of them, every single one of them. It lined them up. I picked a template, and I mean, I'm talking like in seconds, this thing was done here, guys, and it's got so many different features on this particular pod page, and I'm just amazed how quick they put it together. Because I know what it takes to build a website. I've done WordPress, which is hard, and you have all the templates and everything's add-on, but not with Podpage. I'm telling you, if you are a podcaster like me and you want to keep up with all your episodes very quickly, and every time a new episode comes in, it just pops in there. I even have it on automatic so that it automatically posts to my X account. So I get a link there. And I'm just sign into your Podpage here, and then you just go in, and then voila, you're at your home page. And then you can do all this stuff. You can redesign the page a little bit, change it up a little bit if you want to. What they give you is pretty much the base, but the base is beautiful. So I don't see why you need to change it. You get all these templates. You can get your episodes. I mean, there's just so much in this little deal. And all I did was give it my RSS feed, and website is there. I went to build this website on my hosting company, and it was going to take me forever. Look here, you choose all your templates. There's so many templates. You can pick whatever you want. You can change it up whenever you want to. It just real time pops in there, done. You don't have to rearrange hardly anything, usually nothing, because they have the templates. They have some great templates as well. But this is Podpage, guys, and you need to check this out. I wouldn't tell you if I didn't think it was that easy. Now, I know how we have a lot to do with our podcasts. You've got to post them. You got to get the episodes there. You have to blog them. You have to put it out on social media. This makes it so easy. By having all your episodes on Podpage, you can send the link from Podpage, and bam, everybody can see where all your podcasts are. It goes to Apple Podcasts. It goes out there and reads everything, pulls it all in. I don't know how it does it so quickly, but the technology is off the chain. So if you're looking for something and you need a website as a podcaster, you need a website. If you need a website, so what you need to do is click on this link here in this YouTube video, and go out there and try it. You can try it for free. It'll come back with a website in no time. Try it for free. What can you lose? Get your RSS feed. You know how to find that as a podcaster. You should know what that is, right? Yes. And go and try it. Okay? I'm telling you, you're going to love this software. You're going to wish this could do it for any kind of website. Which, as a matter of fact, I wish it could do it for any website. But that RSS feed is a magical little thing. And it allows them to build all of this in minutes. I can't believe it. What I really love about it, one last thing, is that when I post a new episode, Podpage has my episode on the page within, the longest I've seen it time is probably like 10, 15 minutes. That's short to me. I was thinking maybe an hour or two. No, it's out there. Bam. And it's the top one. It's featured. But you control all of that with Podpage. You're going to love this. I guarantee. Guarantee. So check it out. The link is down there in the YouTube. Try it out. Bye now.